So maybe to just give a short introduction for those who haven't been introduced to the VersusVirus hackathon. Sunday evening, we've closed the first virtual hackathon in Croatia that was dedicated to solve the Covid19 crisis, versusvirus.hr. The hackathon was organized by 9 partnering organizations on pro bono basis within 2 weeks of time. Not a lot of time. So today we would like to celebrate this and use the opportunity to present most successful teams from the hackathon, share the lessons learned from the organizers, and to inform what is next for the VersusVirus initiative in Croatia. During the 48 hours of this hackathon, we had 15 teams with 47 members, which was supported by 30 dedicated mentors. Maybe the best way to depict this atmosphere is to paraphrase one of the participants who said that she forgot about the virus during the 48 hours, which was pretty cool to most of us. So today we will present you with solutions and the ideas to the problems that were developed during the hackathon. We will also share tips and tricks on how to organize a similar event, but most importantly, what is next for the VersusVirus initiative in Croatia. I would say kudos to everybody who participated in the hackathon and to all of you who mentored or supported the event on any way. But I think this is just the beginning and would encourage you to continue these efforts, delivering the solutions to the market. But besides making an impact and solving an important problem, now it's probably the best time in your life to build a meaningful business around this. It may be once in a lifetime opportunity to solve the crisis. So all of you who are observing and are still hesitant should you join or not, we do encourage you to join one of the teams or to start your own project, and we will be here to support you. Before we continue, I'd just like to give you a short overview of the schedule for the meetup today. First, this is an intro session. After this, briefly, in a few minutes, we'll have top 5 teams from the hackathon to pitch. After that, we'll have lessons learned from the first virtual hackathon. That will take about an hour. We'll have 6 presenters from different components of the hackathon. We'll try to cover everything that was done and that we find important for anybody who would like to do a similar activity in future to be aware of. And then we'll have a short discussion on the next steps for this initiative. We'll have a conclusion with final remarks, and then we have trtić and spavanje for most of you who still like to watch trtić. As a result of this meetup, we would like to have a document which will explain lessons learned, and we'll make notes as well as the next steps for this initiative. Just to make you aware, this meetup will be recorded as well and will be published on the website of the hackathon and the Lean Startup Croatia blogs. We'll also note all decisions, issues, and activities that will be taken after this meetup. For those of you who won't be able to stay with us until the end, you will have the opportunity to look at the recording at our website, including all of the other meetups that were recorded in previous weeks. At this link you can see on my presentation here. Excellent. So now I would like to invite the presenters or members of the top 5 teams who are here with us to actually do their short pitch. We will try to follow this order. It's alphabetical order, and I would like to invite chatbot Diana to step up and share your presentation if you have one, or if not, you can just unmute your mic and explain what chatbot Diana is and how will you change and solve this crisis or part of it with your solution.
Hi, Mirela speaking. I'm from team Pandemic Bots. Hi everyone, I'm Mirela Đafić with my teammates Kristina Lauš and Ivan Krešić, and I make the team Pandemic Bots. I just want to tell you that they're on the call also, so if you want to ask something, they're here with me, so everything is fine. Our team has a solution for a coronavirus challenge in the field of education. So we're talking about a challenge in providing quality education to children with disabilities during distance schooling. Parents of children with disabilities have to do teachers' work during this distance schooling. This is particularly for the first, second, third, and fourth grade, for which the Ministry of Science and Education instructed that parents coordinate the work of the child based on TV classes and the instructions given by the teachers through online tools they have. Other than the general instructions for working with all children, there also they're not specific instructions for working with children with disabilities during this distance schooling. At the same time, first evaluation of the distance schooling in Croatia has shown that every third teacher needs additional support for working with children with disabilities. So for that reason, we have decided to provide parents and teachers in Croatia access to support on learning with children with disabilities, which would be available for every type of disability at any time.
Excuse me to interrupt. I don't know if you're aware, but you're not changing any slides, so we are just seeing the first slide.
Okay, I'm so sorry. Okay, I'm so sorry.
Maybe you should just go into presentation mode with PowerPoint.
Can you see it now?
Yeah, everything is the same. Just the first slide. No, it's just we see the first slide. We see like the editing mode of the PowerPoint. Maybe you can just switch slides within this mode, because we can see the slide, but only the first one at the moment.
Okay.
That's the third slide.
Okay, now you can see it. Okay, this is the third slide.
Yes, it's good.
Okay, so we plan to do that with the help of Diana, as you could hear that. Diana is training on a learning with children with disabilities for parents and teachers, developed by inclusive education experts and delivered through a chatbot. Oh my God. What? Okay.
So you're having this protected view mode in the top of your PowerPoint. If you click enable editing, this might change the thing.
I have problem with my Microsoft Office.
I see that as well, yeah.
Okay, we're gonna be like this.
It's good.
So that's okay. So what I wanted to say more, that Diana is based on AI, for which she makes human and friendly contact. And she provides trustworthy advice by type of the disability. And also they're based on scientific research and academic publication on inclusive education. Also, it's integratable on different messaging apps and websites, and will be available to parents and teachers at any time of the day. So that's the really important thing about this. We have potential to reach parents of more than 20,000 children with disabilities and more than 30,000 teachers in primary education in our country. So I think that's really important. And also one more thing, we want from you to support us. I want you to remember that access to quality education is the right of every child, even during this coronavirus. And with Diana, we believe that we can make sure parents and teachers are trained to support children with disabilities with the type of assistance that they need during this distance schooling. And you can also reach us at chatbot diana@gmail.com. So thank you, and that's it from us. If you have
Thank you, Mirela, very much. So for the rest of you who are listening, if you have any questions, please use the chat part of this app. What?
No, sorry, I'm really bad in this.
No, not for the moment, but just in general, during any presentation, if you have any questions, please use chat to ask your questions. Thank you, Mirela, for presenting. I would like to invite the next one. So the next one on the list is green community rooftops for a better life. As I'm informed, team members were not able to join today's meetup because of other obligations. But in that case, I would like to invite Naučime online, who is here with us.
Hi, Mate is here.
Hello, Mate. Can you please share your presentation if you have it, or?
Yeah, just in a moment. Okay, so my name is Mate. I'm from the Naučime online team, and the problem that we tried to give a solution to is since pandemic started, and especially after the earthquake, there was an amount of students, college students, that started organizing themselves to support elementary school and high school students by giving them free lectures. But the tools, the apps that they were using were not adequate. They didn't have all the features that are needed for supporting both visual and written two-way communication. So these are mostly only communication apps. Our solution is all-in-one implementation of key features for online education, like booking, video call, and whiteboard. And the product is a web platform with those features implemented in it. So not only those basic features that you can see here, but we already implemented some additional features. We developed a board screen system that in this way, both tutor and student can write simultaneously on the same whiteboard using their smartphone, and they can watch it in real time, and they can edit it in real time and watch it on the desktop screen. We would like to build also a mobile app with some additional features, like a support for this web platform. The impact is that now tutors and students can connect not only local, but on a national level. Also, it saves time for tutors, and our web platform is already ready to use. We know that the crises are hard, and it's always time of troubles and doubts, but it's also times of the opportunities. And how you can help, and you can help us to spread the word about our idea and our platform. I'm sure that you know someone who needs some help in getting the education goals all set, or you know someone that could that can help students to reach those goals. Also, visit our platform and give us your feedback on it. We would like to hear it. And if you know someone that could use our board screen system, also please let us know. We are open for collaborations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your attention. If you have some questions, please ask.
Thank you, Mate, for your presentation. In case there are any questions, they will appear in chat.
Okay.
And we will have the opportunity to answer that during the meetup as well. I would like to invite Stay Insane Parenting Hub portal.
Hello, I'm Maria from Stay Insane Parenting Hub team. In a few minutes, I'll try to present you our project. Before starting, we have asked some of the parents what are the biggest problems that they're facing. Answers were different, but they had one thing in common. They wanted help with organizing time, so they could stay insane. Parents are wasting their time surfing through internet in search for adequate materials. We, as a portal, are offering interactive calendar, which will help them with organization, activities, and content selected according to the relevant institutions and experts. Assisting parents in raising environmentally aware and digitally literate children and generating demand, which will encourage the production of high-quality materials, is something that we think it will make the biggest impact. Here is something that we have done in the 48 hours during the hackathon, and this is our plan, what we will do next in next 3 to 6 months. This is the team. We are all we just met in this hackathon, and I think that the idea that we had is really something that will change the world. So if you don't know why to support us, it's because this is a solution for parents who are confronted with new work conditions. We are a healthy solution for the unhealthy situation. If you have any questions or you would like to see more, you can contact us at staysaneparenting@gmail.com. And also my colleague Martina shared a link to our mockup website, so you can check it out after this meetup. Thank you.
Thank you very much for a very efficient presentation. If there are any questions, only compliments. Excellent. Only compliments for the moment, but in case any questions arise, you will be able to answer that during the meetup as well. And our fourth of five is Tilda.
Hi everyone, my name is Renato and I'm a representative of Project Tilda, as you already heard. Today we live in times when our daily lives have dramatically changed. Covid19 and the earthquake in Zagreb have destroyed and affected numerous lives. There are people that need help in numerous ways and others need a way to provide it. Our solution to that problem is an online fundraising platform that allows everyone to contribute to the fight against COVID-19 and the earthquake that struck the city of Zagreb by donating symbolic amounts of money. Our product is an online platform that allows its users to stay in touch with the family and friends by making video calls. The aim of the project is to cooperate with public figures so that users can contact them via video call by making a symbolic donation. So in order for the video call to be established, it's necessary to donate a symbolic amount that goes to the charity. Raised amounts of money will be publicly visible at all times, but the platform will protect the identity of our donors. By providing this platform, we want to enable everyone to give their contribution to fight against COVID-19 and the earthquake that hit Zagreb, and try to raise funds that will be donated directly to the most vulnerable citizens. We also aim that this platform becomes a tool for raising funds for the various charitable causes in the future. Of course, we believe that each of us can make a small contribution to make this world a better and more beautiful place for every human. So please support our project, because today, more than ever, we need improved fundraising that will unite us and help the most vulnerable people. Thank you.
Thank you, Renato. If there are any questions, please as well, you can ask those in the chat. This question can be for Renato or for any of other of the teams that we heard this afternoon. As you've seen, we had just briefly presented what were the problems and the solutions to those problems that the teams came up with. So anybody who's interested can actually reach out to those teams as well, offer the support, or maybe have an opportunity to collaborate in the future. In case we don't have any questions at the moment, I would continue with our meetup and the next topic. But just once again, maybe to recap, so out of the 15 teams with 47 hackers, we picked 5 as the best performing teams during the hackathon. And you can actually see that many of them all of them actually had filmed a video. They've done their pitch deck, and many of them have actually created a landing page or any other proof of good work during the hackathon. And I'm pretty confident that some of them will actually continue working on these, solving these problems in future days and weeks and months. So to continue with our next topic, which is about the hackathon, its organization, and the lessons learned, I will just present briefly our partners who will also speak about the organization, and those are Impact Hub Zagreb, Tech Park Varaždin, Zelena energetska zadruga, the Climate Kick, Terra Hub, Sjeverno regionalna energetska agencija sjeverozapadne Hrvatske, Lean Startup Hrvatska, Ivy Digital, Edu North i Riječka razvojna agencija Porin. Predstavnike ćemo čuti, we'll hear for the representatives during the meetup, and here are them by name as well, the contributors of this hackathon organization. So how will we do that? Since there is a lot of things to share, we do have to have a structure, and we will have 6 topics. Each will be presented for 5 minutes, plus questions and answers. And each of the presenters will be able to and should answer 3 questions. How did the process look like? What were the good sides of it? And how would you leverage on those for the next time, the next hackathon? What were the main challenges? How did you solve those? And how would you improve for the next time as well? So those are the 3 main questions that we would like to speak about on each of the topics. Here you can see the topics. So number 1 is overall organization hackathon process, that will be presented by Hermes. The second one is web and participant success, presented by Carlo. Promotion and communication will be presented by Sara and Sandra. Agenda and lectures by Miro. Mentor, selection and handling by Dario. And criteria and judging process by me. So I would invite Hermes to step in and start with the first topic about overall organization and hackathon process.
Sure. Thank you very much, Philip. I'm very excited to show you what's going to be my next presentation. Yeah, let me present now. Let's see. Well, what can I tell you? There were so many different things happening at the same time. So I'm going to go very quickly because Philip said I only have 5 minutes. Can you see my screen, Philip?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So how did everything started? I remember when I was looking at some websites of what was happening around some other hackathons, I got very excited and infected, sorry for the pun, no pun intended, about the Hack the Crisis hackathon from Estonia. Also the VersusVirus from Switzerland. And I knew about VersusVirus in Switzerland and the one from Germany, VersusVirus, because these last 2 were organized or co-organized by Imper Hubs over there. And since I'm part of the Imper Hub network, we have a platform, online platform, where we are sharing a lot of information and content. So I knew about them even before they were going to organize it. And I said, like, hey, why don't we do something in Croatia? And then I woke up on a Sunday, and then there was an earthquake. And the next day I said, like, we need to do something different. We need to maybe propose a different solution, because, I mean, it's enough that we have a crisis and now we have an earthquake. What the heck? And then on Tuesday, I remember it was the 24th, I sent an email to 55 people whom I've been connected with for the last 8 years that I've been running Imper Hub, and that's also before other consultancy activities that I was doing. People answer this email around 5-6 days after when I send it, because after the earthquake, you remember, I think everyone were in post-stress with the post-stress syndrome. But in the weekend after, I started receiving more and more emails. I think I answered around 2022. And I remember in particular the one that I received, or the connection that I had with the guys from CES, the cooperative for energy, green energy. They wanted to do some hackathon as well. I say, like, look, I sent this email. Why don't we join the forces instead of, separating? Or maybe it's a complementary thing of what you do. Then the 3rd of April, around 15 people that became the core team. I called them for a Zoom call, and we had the team intro. This helped us quite a lot, and I'm going to go very quick on it. But I would like to explain why this, I believe, was the before and after of this process, because people were very interested, very engage on what to do. So I explained the concept, I shared the intention. We wanted to build the momentum, and I believe that was the time when we set the date. Then we jumped till, fast forward to 11. So from the 3rd to 11, nothing really happened. We were still coping and figuring out what this self-isolation thing was, and also some other small earthquakes that were happening that were shaking everyone around. The first call was in Saturday, I believe, and we had a very kind of low energy. We thought that was not, I inside of myself, I said like, maybe this is not going to happen. But then after the call, we built quite, the scope of the action, where to focus, what sectors, what segments, the target market. We thought about the basic narrative. And then 3 days after, we got a huge boost on our energy, because we have already been working by them. You saw the Slack workspace before the information line. We opened this workspace, and everything was, happening within behind the Slack group. And then during the second call, the 14, we had everything to start with, and then the Monday came, the 15th. On the 15th in the night, I think we had everything to launch the website. We launched the website. We have all of the press release done, and then we discussed during the third call, the 16th, what else was going to happen. So as you can see, we were building on the way. It's like you are just jumping from a cliff and building your parachute. We didn't know what the concept of the final hackathon was going to be, but there was a lot of information. So based on this content that I was looking at, and a lot of people also brought some content from other different resources from the core team, and we were building on the go. Then after we launched the event, then the third day, we spent amazing 3 days of promotion, campaigning, sending it to your grandparents even, and everyone around. So we wanted to really see a lot of people. I thought that maybe just with 20 people coming, I was going to be very happy, because it was not for me about the amount of people, but about the quality and the energy behind. And we ended up having, after these 3 days, 22 articles in media, just by the kickoff on Friday, if you remember, guys who were there, and also the core team. We already had 41 partners registered, 30 mentors. I was like completely got by surprise by the amount of mentors. We actually had, by that time, I think during the kickoff, we didn't have more than that 70 people in Slack. Anyway, we kick it off. We spent an amazing 2 days this last weekend. 11,985 messages have been exchanged in Slack since then. I just checked the statistics half an hour ago. During the hackathon, we have a presence in 8 more, media outlets, and now we are in the post-hackathon session, right? So this is very quickly to tell you that this was a process. This process has to do with a very lean approach. We set kind of the rules of the game within the core team in the beginning and say like, hey guys, this is going to be based on a participatory leadership. We are not going to be bosses of anybody. If you say you are going to do something, then we trust on you doing something. Let's just not wait for stuff, just do stuff. And I think that energy kept on happening. And during the weekend, the participants were only looking at the public channels, but in the private channels, I mean, some of us, we couldn't even have time to go to eat or even, take a shower because of a lot of things that were happening. But I can also say, based on the questions that Philip was posting, that we were building this on the shoulders of giants, meaning there was a lot of material. We adapted a lot of what was already there. We decided on the go what platform to use. Slack was the number one option. The website was built in a day because of, Ivan was an amazing person helping us doing it. And also some people that Carlo was contacting before with the logo, the dev post account. We had actually, we didn't know what to use, either DevPost or Wana. We're going to go to the details later if you have some questions, but we reached out to these guys, the organizers behind these platforms. For example, DevPost costs $1,500. And I say, like, as I remember talking to Carlos, like, this is crazy, man. How are we gonna do this? Well, let's just send an email to see if it's for, if they can support us. So we just told them, hey man, guys, we are doing this totally pro bono. We organized and built the whole concept in a week. So at least, do you have something that you can help us? And both at the same time, Juana and Depos send us an email. And because Depos, send us first the email of offering it for free, we say, okay, let's honor that and use Depos. And we ended up having amazing, good Depos platform for that. No? So lessons learned are very much related to, I think, I have here my small notes. Being proactive, not waiting, just doing the stuff. Use what is built and have been done, or what have been done already. Just don't stop and just don't think. Just let's do stuff and build on. We had a lot of feedback. The feedback loops were amazing. If somebody was proposing something, we just posted in Slack, and then in less than 5 minutes, we came out with a solution or what next step to do. Right. So totally non-bureaucratic, super lean. I think I took more than 5 minutes, but Philip, did I cover everything? Maybe there are questions, right?
Sure. If there are any questions, please feel free to ask. It seems not at the moment, but in case there will be any questions in future, everyone can actually use chat or ask for a word. Right, so if no questions, I suggest we move to the next topic about the web and participant success. We'll try to follow the same framework. And I invite Carlo to present.
Yeah, hey guys. Let me show my face as well. It would be nice.
What's an E? It's E, Carlo.
Oh, that's not me.
It's an e-citizen, man.
It's somebody who was muted. Okay, Carlo, will you share your screen?
Yeah, I'll try to do that.
Mm-hmm. Seems it's working. Okay, we see that.
Yeah, can you see it?
Yes, yes. Here.
Okay. So it's nice to see some familiar faces in the virtual audience today, and some familiar names hiding behind their cameras. I'm happy that you are all here. So my topic for today is to say something about the website that we created for the hackathon and a few words about participant success. So I decided to use the pitch deck concept that each team was supposed to use during the hackathon. So I'll be focusing on these 9 topics. First of all, we were faced with the problem on how to create the hackathon website. The issues that we had were days until the launch, so we had 4 days max to create the entire website. The design was supposed to be pretty simple and intuitive. We wanted to have clear content. The challenge that we faced was the chicken and the egg problem. So the whole concept of the whole hackathon was still undefined, so we needed to define the whole thing along the way. And another problem that we had was to create an easily and intuitively editable website. The solution to that problem was simply rolling up our sleeves and get down to work. So we created the content. We did that by finding similar hackathons and what they were doing, and we just adapted that content. So we found the best things from each of the hackathons and put that into our website and just went through the whole text and shortened it. The way we did that was we got also feedback and assistance from other team members. Then the next thing was the design. So what I, as the project coordinator, as the coordinator of the web thing, decided to do was ping the designer who I worked with frequently. And then together we created a concept idea. The next thing for the web was how to select the technology that we were going to use. Select and buy the domain, create the mockup, and simply ping the developer that was supposed to put the whole thing into action. The market that we were supposed to approach, we did it in 2 phases. So the first thing the first market that we had was actually the whole team, the team members, the organizers. So we needed to convince them that the whole thing was working. The first step was to convince the designer that the concept idea inputs are good, that he can work with that. Then the developer needed to approve the mockup so that he had the material to work with. And the whole combination of these things was supposed to be presented to team members, and they were supposed to approve that. That was a tricky part of the process, but it worked to the end. The whole thing was targeted towards the second phase, and that was to approach the participants to apply. So the guys who were actually going to hack, also the mentors that are going to be mentoring those teams, and the partners that are going to support the whole thing in different ways that we proposed. The product in the end resulted in this. So we had the design concept. We used simple Google drawings. So I created a simple sketch, sent it to the designer, and he had the material to work with. The website mockup was created with Google Sites, so it's an easy and intuitive tool. What we also considered doing was using Google Slides. You can use that as a simple tool to create the mockup of the website. It was just the simple choice. And then the web was actually created with a visual composer-like tool that has a drag and drop concept. So Technology Park Varaždin has many tenant companies that deal with website development. So we decided to use one of them. It was actually a fun thing because we got to play around with the product that one of our companies has to offer. So it was double motivation. Our business model, of course, we couldn't do this alone. We had to do it with other team members. So promoting the whole thing through the Facebook event and PR, like Hermes mentioned before, was a must. And what we needed to have in the website were constant updates, and that meant internal coordination of the whole team. So we took a lean approach there. We had chats in Slacks. We had Zoom meetings on what we're going to do next and how we're going to update the website. So I had to ping one guy, another guy from Tech Park to do constant editing. He had more time on his hands than the initial developer. He also had some experience in organizing offline events, so he was a big asset, turned out to be a big asset in the end. The impact that the whole thing created, as we mentioned before, we had somewhat 50 participants, and in the end, 10 teams actually applied with their idea. 30 mentors and 40 partners, and it turned out to have an efficient content distribution before and during the event. That's what the website was used for. So here, this is just a reminder for me to reflect on the participants. So we had the 50 participants that we had. I think everybody can take something away from this event. Each of us, not only the participants, but mentors, partners, and the organizing crew, I think we learned something. But I would say that the next step is an entrepreneurial approach. So I think each of the mentors, jury members, and organizers already said to all of the teams that now it's up to you guys to take initiative. If you don't help yourselves, nobody's going to help you. So we are here to help any way we can. Some of the projects that were presented, some of the projects that were elected to be among the top 5 have, in our opinion, good potential to take the things to the next level. Me personally, I'm going to do everything I can to help you guys. If you ping me, if you contact me later, I will definitely put you in touch with some people who can help you out in the next stage. We have good contacts to find possibly investors and some funding to take things to the next level. As for the lessons learned part, so I would compare the version 1 that we used in this whole thing. So some pros were that the whole thing turned out to be quick, efficient, and had all required technical features. But also there were some cons in the solution that we turned out to take advantage of in this whole process. So we had several unclear elements in the website. We didn't have a clear application process initially. We changed it on the go, but also we had several undefined elements in the whole process, and I would definitely do this differently. So in the version 2, when we do another hackathon, another event, or for those of you who want to do it, I definitely recommend better definition of roles of team members. You need to define the deadlines really well, and you need to stick to the deadlines. And you have to define the whole scope of the whole thing, and definitely create more visual elements. We didn't have time to do that, so we didn't do it this time. It took the whole team to make this work. So we had a coordinator that turned out to be me on the website part. We had a designer initially, we had a developer. Then they stepped out of the process, and we just took off with the content creators, initial content creators, and the content creators during the whole process. We also needed to have proofreaders and testers. We would definitely use those type of profiles in the next stage. And we needed to have an editor who would do constant updates of the website. So for the call to action, I would definitely say do the thing. If you want to organize a hackathon, go for it. You'll figure it out. And I think we will definitely do these types of things. Hopefully offline. Hopefully we'll not have to do this type of thing online. But I think the combination of offline and an online event could also do pretty good. And now for the Q&A thing. Thanks, guys.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Carlo, for presenting. If there are any questions, please use chat to post them. Carlo did a very good overview of all the requirements the website has, and it was probably one of the toughest things to do in this short amount of time. And I think the lessons learned were pretty on spot. So anybody who is going to do this, try to go through this presentation once again. So if there are any questions, you can feel free to think about it as well and post it later on. Do the thing, that's a very good message. So we've heard from Hermes about how everything started and how we actually got together the team. Carlo explained the first part of the process, that was actually doing the narrative and putting everything online to actually start the promotion. And now I would like to invite Sandra or Sarah. Not sure.
Hi, I will be presenting today.
Okay, great. Sarah is here, and she is going to speak about promotion and communication part. Is that correct?
Yes.
Excellent.
So I have my own presentation. Let me just start it up. Can you see the PowerPoint?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Yes. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to be talking about promotion and communication. So a bit about the process. Well, Hermes mostly spoke about it in the beginning, but I will just, in short, mention again, emphasizing the communication part. So first of all, the roles were divided among the 10 organizers, and the shared vision as was agreed. The hackathon name was voted out, and accordingly, the visual identity was created. Then the website narrative was created, web and visuals. The website, as mentioned before, it went live on Tuesday night, and then the Facebook event was created and posted at 9 o'clock in the evening, 3 days before hackathon started. By then, it was a bit too late to send press releases to the media, so we just started our own promotion on social, Facebook, LinkedIn, by all of us, the whole 10 partners, and started to communicate with help from friends and so on. We sent the direct emails to partners, and 2 days before the event, we sent a media announcement. The media announcements were sent not only by us, but also by all partners, because the thing is about having 10 partners is we all have our different contacts, which was really important in this kind of short amount of time. So during the process, the communication mostly was internal on Slack, and we shared the most important things such as lectures, informations, when the closing ceremony will be happening, and so on social media. So the question about the good sides and how we can leverage on those for the next time is that the good side was we had many communication channels to share the information. The downside was no time and no plan. We all, along the way, when something came up, we did it. That's it. For the channels that we used, it was personal mails, it was newsletters, we inboxed people in social media, we did some phone calls, social media and partners channels, and we had over 40 partners, so this was a pretty big network we could reach. So just to mention as well, there was absolutely no budget, neither for press or social advertising, but we still managed to reach an incredible amount of people in just 3 days. And as Sandra said, when you have no money, you have people or a social capital as a resource. So we used it. Well, what really was the good side, we got some new direct contacts to media that could be helpful in future communications. And so we added new emails, phone numbers, and so on. And the thing about the participants, they were so active on Slack. As Hermes mentioned before, there were almost 12,000 messages on Slack posted. So it was a good way to reach them and also to inform them on Slack. And next time we maybe could even ask them to promote the event on the social media. So the main challenges, as I mentioned before, there was no communication and promotion plan. It was just a simple division of tasks. And there was very little time to communicate properly to target groups. So for the next time, for the improvements, I feel we all feel that we should address the target groups better, but also with more time, we would have had the ability to communicate more about the ideas and the challenge itself. So how to apply, how to post, maybe post a video explaining the simple steps, how to apply. Explain there is no need for a technical background, because when you mention hackathon, a lot of people usually thinks it's only for programmers. So those are the kind of things that could be addressed next time. And there were many topics left not covered during the lack of time, and we were solving it one by one in Slack, for instance, which the participant knows, but it's also pretty time consuming. And also a media and communication plan would be really good. We had an Excel sheet that we're all just putting in the media that we contacted, the posts that were published and so on. So it was pretty hectic, but it was nice. And the most important thing, we forgot to agree on the hashtag. So some of us were using VersusVirus, some of us were using versusvirus.hr. Which was ours, we still don't know. So for the visual identity, we kept, as you saw, the website as well. It's very simple, it's very editable. The main two colors are also recognizable to the Croatian flag, black and red and white. So this was the kind of idea that was on. So for the media, we sent 2 press releases. One was sent before. It was a call for participants, for mentors and partners. And we also sent a press release on Monday morning. It was more about the event information, summary, and winners. So the results, there was more than 40 media articles published. We had a media partner, gradonačelnik HR. We were also published in Večernji. Sandra did an amazing interview for Netokracija. We were on Zimo Dnevnik by Nova TV. We were on Studentski, Bug, Halter, Ekovjesnik, and so on, which really shows that we hit a big crowd with it. It was from Ekovjesnik is an ecology-based media. Gradonačelnik HR is governance media, and so on. So it was really good for us to see that a lot of media was actually interested in posting this kind of event. Least but not the last, we also appeared on national TV. And on Saturday morning, I think all the participants were too busy working, but we were at Dobro jutro Hrvatska show. Sandra gave an interview also for Radio Sljeme, for Laganini FM, and there's also an amazing, she also did for the Rijeka area one great interview. So these are just the screenshots of some of the media. You can check it out, and the appearance in HRT. So for the social media, we created it was pretty simple. We created the Facebook event, added all the co-hosts, and these are the numbers that we had. Almost 15,000 people reached. We had 241 responses, and we used this event to share all the information, not just to participate, but people interested in the event. So everybody could join the closing ceremony, everybody could join the lectures and learn something if they couldn't participate in the whole hackathon. And the important thing is in social media that every partner used their own channels as well and posted information, so that got even a bigger reach. And we also had a little help from the influencer or comedian, Peja Bajovic. He made a short video inviting people to the hackathon. We posted an event and our Facebook pages. And for instance, Zelena Energetska Zadruga, we posted it on our page and we got over 5,300 people who saw it. So this is it shortly for the communication. I hope this was understandable.
Yes, Sarah, thank you very much. Very good presentation, very informative, and I believe that anybody who is interested in repeating such an activity had a lot to learn out of it. So we've covered overall process, the website, the communication, and that was important to actually reach out to get the customers, to get people to join the hackathon and start hacking the virus. But now what is missing is what's there to be done. What is the content? So about the agenda and the lectures, I invite Miro to present.
Hi everyone. It's again great to see you all coming for this follow-up, hackathon follow-up. So practically in this presentation, I would like to answer to 3 questions. How did the process look like regarding the agenda and lectures, and what were the good sides and what were possible ways or challenges which we could improve for the next session. So how did the process look like? Regarding the agenda, first of all, we in the Lean Startup Croatia are particularly working on creating innovation programs for different organizations. And that's why our team, Philip, Dario joined us as well from Rijeka, and me, first of all, in this process, we set up deliverables that we wanted to have out of this event. Based on those deliverables, we created the judging criteria. So those are 2 things. Sure, there was, as Hermes also mentioned before, we had knowledge from some other events which we could consult, and then we mixed that with our knowledge of making this kind of programs, and basically defined deliverables. Deliverables were then agreed with all the partners, and from those deliverables we created agenda. When creating agenda, there were several things which we considered very important, and we kind of defined those things as milestones. And first milestone was registration. or deadline for registration for all the participants. The second milestone was team formation, and then afterwards, when team formed, their idea submission and final presentation submission, which was on Sunday. After we had this general framework, the general structure, we decided to go more into details into agenda, because everything what I'm telling was happening in this period from Sunday to Tuesday. Basically, as it was on short notice, we realized that the agenda has to be flexible, so we are able to kind of play by ears during the event. Because there was many different things which could come as risks. So practically, we created time blocks for mentoring, lectures, and we defined opening and closing ceremonies as main events. So that was regarding the agenda. As I said, agenda was agreed later with all the partners, and after we had defined agenda and came more into going more deep into agenda, we were talking about lectures. I was responsible to organize this part regarding lectures. So first of all, I had to go back and then see, okay, we had certain deliverables that we wanted to achieve at the end of the event. And practically from those deliverables, we were defining general topics, which then we included in more detailed time frame and agenda. Practically, there was a really good idea it was very short time, and how to get people who are going to present on certain topics that we already defined earlier. So in Mentors application, we added one more part, which was about speakers. So practically we were asking people who offered us service as mentors. We asked them if they want to deliver a specific lecture on a topic that they were mentoring. That was a really good decision. And then we got, I think, 10 different mentors who were willing to deliver presentation. When we got those, I would say, applications, we contacted possible speakers and asked them for confirmation about specific dates and times. So we confirmed the speakers, and then we had to engage participants to listen to those lectures. Practically, we had quite big range of different participants with different backgrounds and ideas in, I would say, different stages and different areas in which they were being developed. So not all the lectures would fit like 100% to all participants. But anyhow, we had to engage them to come to the lectures, because the lectures were quite high quality. What did we do? We created a Slack channel called Lectures, in which we were giving 2 announcements per lecture. Practically, after participants were joining lectures, we did these lectures through Zoom. In a way that we had dedicated Zoom rooms specifically for lectures, and also we had a Google spreadsheet in which we had descriptions of all the lectures and all the speakers. So practically at the beginning of every lecture, we would be able to present the speaker and the topic very clearly. And the good decision that we did was to do the recordings of the lectures. So what were the challenges that we had? There were several challenges. But before I mention challenges, I would go and mention you what were good sides of agenda and lectures. First of all, I would say that it was a straightforward process because of the experience that we had, and also huge help from best practice documents that other organizations worldwide that were organizing VersusVirus hackathons put in public. Also, I think the good thing was that we had to keep agenda flexible, like big blocks of time, because there was a short time frame to organize everything, so the agenda had to be flexible. And I think in the future we have to keep it also a bit flexible, because people with different backgrounds are coming also to event. The very good idea was to have a big pool of speakers. Now, speakers didn't come just through our mentors application form, but also through the sources from inside the organizing team and our contacts. So practically, the good thing was that our organizations had quite extensive network of high quality speakers. And at the end, I think that a very good idea was to have recordings for the whole event, so participants could get back. At the end, what were the main challenges? As I already once mentioned, getting participants engaged in lectures. Practically, we used several live announcements, and we were practically advising teams to send just one person per team, so and ask questions during the lectures. What I think we could do better is that we could pre-record lectures and then use these live sessions for people to ask questions to specifically to speakers. And at the end, short notice for speakers. We had some challenges regarding this one. Some participants couldn't make it because it was very short notice. And then I would say we would need more time and to organize all those speakers for the future. And at the end, not all lectures were a good fit for all teams. Practically, as I said, we had teams with different backgrounds and different that would work in different areas. For the next time, I think we could leverage on that in sense that we have diverse sessions with the different topics. So practically in one session block, we have different speakers. But this would also be possible if the hackathon, we had more time to organize it. So that would be like in short, my 5 minutes on agenda and lectures. And if there are some questions, I would be happy to take them. And if not, I will just use the opportunity to once again say my thank you to all the speakers during the VersusVirus HR hackathon.
Thank you, Miro, very much for explaining all the bits and pieces of agenda and lectures. And as you mentioned many times, there was a big help of mentors, both in mentoring, but also in providing lectures and know-how to the participants. So for the next topic, I would like to invite Dario, who actually was in charge to coordinate the mentors process, to give his piece and explain how does he sees this effort after 2 days.
Thank you, Philip.
Would you like to share the presentation, or?
Yes.
Okay, then I stop here.
Thank you. Hello, guys. So I will speak about mentor selection and handling mentors. You heard a lot about the challenges that we had during all these days of preparation. So first, I will start how the process looked like. So we had application form, and mentors decide if they want to be a team mentor dedicated for 2 days, or just being an expert mentor dedicating for a few hours by field of expertise. And at the beginning, we didn't have a lot of applications, so we tried to reach our network through different channels, and in total, we have more than 40 applications, and 30 mentors join us for these 2 days. So after they fulfill the application form, we contact them, invite them to Slack. Some of them joined the Slack, but they left early, so they didn't start the process of mentoring at all. But through these 2 days, we had 30 mentors. So then we had the matching participants and mentors. A little bit later, I will talk more about what were the challenges there. And through the whole process, I was chatting about the teams with the mentors to see how it goes. Do they connect them? And I was very surprised that mentors, most of them said to me, yes, we had several Zoom calls or Skype calls with them already. We have another meeting in 3-4 hours again, and so on and so on. So mentors were very dedicated, but in the same time, participants were too. So it was a great match and made me happy. And all of us in the organization team, of course. So this was like the steps, what was happening. The next thing was, what were the good sides of it and how we can leverage it for the next time, for the next hackathon. So I will say the mentors were very satisfied with the event, and I'm sure that we can count on them in the future. Probably most of them will join us again and give some maybe better understanding what they want to do with the participants. And also only a few of them said that they want to be speakers. Maybe in the next one, the guys will see that these webinars were very good and they can also do one. So I think that for the next time, more mentors will become speakers as well. Communication on Slack channel was very good. And I recommend Slack for sure for events like this. And we also have mentor channel, like private mentors channel, where we're talking about what's going on, each team needs a specific field or something else. And something that was very, very good also, because they wanted mentors to spend more time with participants than expected from them. As I said, there was like full-time mentors and the mentors who said that they will do only a few hours. But in the same time, these guys who said that they'll do only a few hours stayed for 2 days, and they were also dedicated for the whole time. So I think that having these two was very good, and in the future probably will have more participants. So field experts will help a lot with maybe some things that now we didn't touch, like legal part, more about finance, and so on and so on. And what were the main challenges and what we did to solve that and how we can improve that for the next time? I would say that one of the biggest challenges is not having formed teams in expected time. So we said that we will have team formation deadline till Friday, 7 p.m. And team didn't form till, I will say, noon the next day. So on Saturday around noon, we had team formed, and then we catch up with the mentors and trying to catch up with agenda and so on and so on. And I think this was something that didn't help us in the process, but that challenge we overcome in the way that mentors were very supportive and participants were very patient, waiting for some mentors to reach them or opposite. I think that for the next time, we need to find a way to form teams quicker, and we already have some solutions on that, so I think that it will be better. And another thing that I will put as a thing that for the next time will be a must we didn't have opportunity to have a meeting call with the mentors because teams were formed very lately, and then mentors just grabbed the teams, or team just grabbed the mentors, and the whole this running process for 2 days, we didn't have proper pre-meeting call. And let's say on Saturday evening, it will be also good to have one call just to make sure what's going on with the teams. But we saw that through the channel of Slack. So I don't think that we missed any information, but probably meeting call would be nice to have. And now I want to say a big thanks to all of the mentors that with their own free time share expertise and say to us, hey, we are volunteering for this because we feel your pain and we see what are you doing, and you are doing a great job, and you need mentors, so you'll be there. So one round of applause for these guys, because they took a lot of efforts and help us this event happen. So thank you guys one more time. And now it's time for Q&A. Thank you very much for your time, guys. And if you have any questions, please feel to ask.
Thank you very much, Dario. Since we are trying to catch a schedule as well, I'm left with 2 minutes to present our final topic on criteria and judging process. I will use 2, maybe +2, so let's make it 4. So I'll try to answer both all the 3 questions as the rest of the guys did. Before that, just to introduce, there were 5 members of the jury panel, which most of them you've already met or heard during this meetup today as well. So the process, I would say it had 6 steps. First of all, we've set the criteria and grading structure. That was more or less at the very beginning before actually planning the agenda. Some of that was also mentioned by Miro. The second thing was deployment submission tool. Hermes mentioned that we use DevPost, which was proven to be a good choice. Third one, select the judging panel. So actually select who are the people who will be reading all the submissions and giving the grades and making final decision. Fourth, brief the panel. Means that explaining what are the criteria and make sure that everybody is aligned and set the expectations. And fifth, prepare the lead board grading spreadsheet. So this is related to the second point and depends if this platform or tool actually enables you to also do the grading within it, which DevPost did have and which was a very good pro. And sixth one was grade individually and deliberate for the final decision. So the good sides that I would like to mention is that we had actually a good fit of the criteria and the grading structure for the project stage and the circumstances that we had. So that I mean that all 4 parts of the criteria were aligned with the phase of the project. The deployment and submission tool, as mentioned, it was easy to judge. There was a nice overview. Although in the issues, I can mention that we had few issues in submitting by some of the teams. We'll get back to that. Select the judging panel. So we had a good balance and diversity of perspectives, people from different organizations and different backgrounds, which actually contributed the conversation and the deliberation at the end, because it was a tough decision and we had a very good discussion about how to actually make a final decision. Brief the panel, so it was efficiently done in a separate call, plus within a separate Slack channel as well. The DevPost had the grading spreadsheet or the lead board ready-made, so we didn't have to take care of that one. That's why the DevPost did an excellent part there. And sixth was grade individually and deliberate for final decision. Nothing special to add here, besides that the third point where a good balance is necessary. Considering the challenges and how can we actually improve for the next time, for the first point of setting criteria and grading structure, I would say that having a better distinction among criteria and getting it more straightforward would be helpful, which means that we did have the criteria, I would say was good, but it was a bit complex, this depending on some teams and let's say types of the ideas they had. Second, the deployment submission tool, as mentioned, their post was good, besides the part that we were not sure that everybody had submitted their presentation and video by the deadline they had. So we need to extend the deadline 2 times, and if you're doing similar event, by experience, also try to think about this, and this is usually the case. Third, selecting the judging panel. It's important to prevent subjectivity and information bias, and to also align panel experiences and expectations. When I say information bias, I mean on having the panel on the same level of understanding or previous information on the teams they are supposed to judge. Brief of the panel, I do believe that brief on criteria is very important, and also, as mentioned, to set the right expectations. That has been proven in many different circumstances and events that judging panels might have different expectations, and then after they read or hear 2 or 3 different teams, they are kind of lowering or adjusting the expectations, and then the grading kind of changes, which means that first few teams might have lower points than needed. Prepare the lead board grading spreadsheet, so that post was good there. Grade individually and deliberate for the final decision. This part is very important because yes, we can grade, but we are people, we are humans, and very often we need to hear and understand other perspectives, because of course the jury had also limited time to grade everything and to understand each project, which means that it's very helpful for the jury to actually discuss on the opinions and to make any additional remarks or raise any questions they have on the teams. I would definitely improve this part of the process by selecting the jury chair, so the lead jury member, and to make this person as a facilitator of the session, to have actually a process of getting the jury from to make a decision, right? And that actually completes my part of making any remarks and lessons learned on the criteria and judging. So we've come to an end of our 6 parts of sharing our lessons learned of organizing this hackathon. And now is a good opportunity to anybody from the audience to actually ask any questions, post any comments, and here are all of the presenters that are still available to give you an answer. So while we are waiting for the questions, I would like to ask each of the core team members of the organizers one question, kind of personal. So what was the one thing that you personally have learned out of this experience? I would invite you to share that with the rest of the audience here. Who can start? Maybe we can go by the order of presentations. So Hermes, if you're ready, you can share your...
You bastard, I was still thinking.
I know, but you're a fast thinker, come on.
Yeah, so, man, I learned quite a lot of stuff. I knew, for instance, that this event was going to happen even with 10 people. I was going to push. However, what I learned is that And this is very important because this is one of the reasons why I'm still here in Croatia, betting for this country, as if it will be mine. There is a lot of talent behind. When Philip wrote me a message this morning and then, hey, let's talk about some of the content of the session today, the post hackathon, I said like, yeah, sure, let's do it. Knowing Philip, I knew it was going to be that detail, which is great because this is something that will, be recorded and anybody can come. So that level of professionalism and quality was shown in every one of the people who joined to do this event happening. And I knew there was a capacity. I knew there is talent. But what I learned is when you have something with the incentives aligned, with a clear intention of creating something for good, just, things align by itself and then they happen. So it was more of a confirmation of it, right? So I'm super satisfied. I'm super happy that people join forces and who say there is no talent here, who said we are not capable of pulling out these things in 4 days, 1 week. So that's what I learned. It was a confirmation of things that I knew, but the level of capacity, integrity, professionalism of all of us, and even of course, the participants. The participants were acting like, we didn't have, if I can recall, at least for the ones who registered creation participants, any single negative comment about it, maybe through the private channels, but I think they saw the intention and they just joined forces. Yeah.
Thank you, Hermes. Carlo, are you ready to share your number one lesson? Personal one.
Yeah, I had some time to think, but I was listening to Hermes. But I'm going to take the privilege not to answer that question. I'm just going to say that I learned a bunch of new things on how to organize an online event. I also learned a lot of things how not to do. And that's also a good thing, a good takeaway. I can say that I made some new friends, which is nice. And hopefully we'll get to meet in person as well. But now that some of the participants are still here, I just want to reflect on what Philip said at the end of his presentation regarding the jury. I don't know if you remember, but during one of the lectures, Shark Tank was mentioned. And I don't know if you guys watch Shark Tank. Shark Tank is an American TV show where entrepreneurs present their ideas and billionaires invest tons of money in their ideas. And those billionaires are experienced entrepreneurs, and they plenty of times don't take the opportunity to invest in businesses who later on turn out to be successful. So my point here is that judging is not really that important is not really that important component of this. What is important is that you believe in your idea and the action that you take afterwards to implement it and to act on it. Being selected among the top 5 is just some kind of a feedback, some kind of an acknowledgement that you might be on the right track. But even if you're not among the top 5, that doesn't mean that your idea doesn't make sense. That is my take on this.
Right, thank you very much. Sarah, are you with us?
Yes, I'm with you. So the lessons learned here, is that you can do a lot of things in a very small amount of time if you actually really enjoy what you're doing. And I think the whole team was having fun because we were all like at midnight typing each other and from morning to the evening really engaged. So yeah, I think if you find my lesson is like find the right team. If something doesn't feel right, communicate it. Say what you mean. Trust each other in the team. So yeah, that's for me one important lesson. Short and sweet.
Yeah, thank you. Next is Miro.
So as Carlos said, we had more time to think, but it was more interesting to listen to other people, what they were saying. Practically, what I learned, or more precisely to say what I have confirmed myself, that participatory leadership could work if you choose the right team members. So in all stages, from the very beginning till the end, I think there were some people who were kind of taking their leading roles and then finishing things from the beginning till the end. So practically, this is something what I've confirmed for myself.
Yeah, if I can just add something right here. Participatory leadership could work even better when the whole crew knows each other better. I think that's one of the key components. And now that we've, met each other better, I think the next time could work on an even higher level.
Can I add on that as well? Because, for me, it was incredible to know that one way or another, I have been connecting and working with the rest of the core team. There were probably 3-4 persons that I didn't know before. But you're right, Carlo. I think strengthening also these relationships help you to do better next time. And just trusting the process of me to say, you can pull it out leading today or leading tomorrow in the event or leading in the morning next day when it's needed. But just keeping in mind that the leadership will be needed in any time. Yeah, cool.
Thank you, guys. Dario?
I will say that having all these servant leaders in organization team make miracles. I felt so much passion in these guys' actions that I started to be passionate even more about this project and more to come. So I'm really looking forward to see the new hackathons and the new project that I will do with the same people. As Carlos said, now we know each other's and we can do much better and efficient projects. That's all. Thanks.
I do know that Gustavo and Sandra is also listening. So if you guys want to step in and maybe share some of your remarks on this question, and I can repeat it. What was the one thing that you personally have learned out of this experience? If not, that's also fine, but I kind of believe that you would like to share as well.
Josip is also here. Miljenko is also here. Maybe somebody else, right?
My biggest takeaway was don't do two organizing hackathons at 2 weeks. It's you can't give yourself to the organizing team. That's after one hackathon before week. So it was a mess, but it was a nice mess, and I'm glad that it was a great success in the end.
I agree with Josip. Don't do 2 in a row in 10 days. But also, I would confirm what you other guys said. And I liked very much the message to the startups, to the ideas. I think it stands for us as well. Believe in what you do, in what your idea, and act on it, and you will do it. So we are in the same boat. And it was a pleasure doing it with you.
Right. Thank you. I've cheated since I knew the question in advance, so I had some time to think, and I actually made an effort and do a visual. And this would be something that I would share and say that's my key takeaway. I did kind of knew that this quote is true, but now I felt it on my skin as well. And I would just maybe say that culture eats strategy for breakfast. In our case, culture eats process for breakfast as well. So yeah, in this short amount of time and very loose team because of a very good culture, individual and organizational, but also very good working habits and a lot of good positive characteristics of the individuals. I think we've done a good job here. But it's not about bragging, not at all. So if there are any questions or remarks on anything that we've just said and shared, please do that by unmuting your mic or asking to speak. Or if you prefer better, then you can also use chat to post your question.
Maybe, yeah, Philip, sorry. I haven't heard from any participant. Probably they gave feedback. This is the time, and I'll be very happy to at least listen to a couple of them. Even if it's, I mean, whatever constructive feedback will be very well received. So please, guys, let us know if you like something, if you didn't like something, because it's also important. This is feedback that we give to ourselves, right, from our own point of view. But who else to give very valuable feedback than the guys who actually were the reservoirs of all of this, no?
Yeah, sorry, I was just going to say the same thing, but I was going to suggest that we play a little game of truth and dare, because as Hermes said before, we haven't heard any negative feedback, and I would like to hear some kind of, something from the participants on what could be done better the next time, or what didn't work as well as it should have. Now it's their time to speak.
Can I?
Please.
Just a second. So for me, this was a very pleasant experience, but maybe one thing that was lacking on the beginning of the hackathon, it was the construction of the teams and communicating the ideas between. We didn't know who are the teams, who to communicate. I came on the Slack and I was like, okay, what I have to do. And that was a little thing that was confusing. And if you are not proactive person and click on everybody, then you were left without a team and without an idea if you weren't the person that had the idea in the first place. Other than that, everything for me, it was especially positive. The mentors were there all the time to help us with everything. And special thanks to them in behalf of me and the whole girls in my team. And all you organizers were also free and available all the time for all questions, no matter how stupid and nonsense we were speaking at the time.
Much appreciated, Sandra. Thank you. Awesome.
Yeah, I can answer that. That's actually one of the things that I mentioned in my presentation. We noticed that that was the part of the application process that we sort of messed up, but we picked it up along the way. We changed that, maybe a little too late. We also published the teams that were created by, I think, Saturday morning, something like that. It was the opportunity for participants to join those teams, but luckily, many of the participants already had the teams, so, it worked out for them. It was a learning curve.
If I may, just to add to what Sandra actually said, perhaps putting like an Excel with all of the ideas and a short description right next to them, and then like make this accessible at all times in case if like teams change or team members actually change or anything in this process changes. So for example, in other hackathons, you would also see a code for each group. And then basically people would ask in, I don't know, in a specific group, like as we also had like focusing on finding new team members, they would just put the code, and it was much easier to select the idea, and it perhaps I don't know, wasn't biased or anything, because it was, people wouldn't know who that person is or what they're doing, so they were just selecting the idea basically. And that was something that, for example, I really liked in other competitions. And yes, there are perhaps some, for future hackathons, perhaps having also a list of prizes for people to actually motivate them to work more. Perhaps that will also work on that. And besides this, it's a really great exercise, and I was just really surprised that this kind of initiative was also organized in Croatia, and I was super happy about that. And again, guys, thank you so much to everyone from mentors, organizers, absolutely everyone, because this is a really great initiative for Croatia as a whole.
Thank you, Gabriela, very much. There is a question from Anna in the chat, which is exactly addressing our next topic. So the question is, when we are going to talk about what we will do with our projects in the future. Okay, great. So
can I take that?
Yes, please.
So thank you, Anna, for that. The answer from the people, we have around 41 different partners. Among those, there were around 9 organizations who mentioned that they wanted to give follow-up support. So as part of this support for your projects in the future, and this is the follow-up that we mentioned before, we have only received out of these 8 to 9 answers from 5. So I'm pinging the rest just to have a very good idea of the offer that we want to tell you. But what I can tell you is that there is for sure an availability of hours from these partners who are volunteering to give you even more feedback and help you building it a little bit better. So just give us at least one more day to capture that information better, and then you will be receiving an email with that. This is from the structured offer from the partners who say they were going to donate and give some consultancy hours. As for any other support from us, Carlo already said on a personal, offer. I am also happy to support if somebody else is interested and wants to send information to me directly. I bet if you ask the rest, maybe even the mentors that you were talking to, it doesn't hurt asking. So that's another thing. Talking about the learnings, if maybe for you, asking doesn't cost anything. And I remember my email wasn't asked. It was asking if somebody wants to join this, and now we are here. So the same with you. So just ask for support, ping people, send emails. If you will receive a yes, then it might probably be the best yes in your life, or one of the best yeses in your life. So just keep on doing it. As for our side, the support is what I told you. Give us a little bit of more time, maximum 1 day, and we will definitely send this email with a little bit more structured information of what's next from the follow-up for the top 5 persons, for the top 5 teams, right? Hope I answered that part.
Yeah. So if I can add also here on this one. Practically, I read also if you read Netokracija and report that they did with interview that they did with Sandra. So Sandra mentioned also one thing that Philip and we from Startup Croatia are going to offer to all 5 winning teams. So practically, I don't know if you guys were looking about what we do. You might have came across Startup Drill program. So practically, this is a program that we have put together and organized in 6 different countries and in 8 different cities. We had more than 200 different founders joining our program. And practically what we are going to offer it as a 4 weeks program for all the winning startups. How this is going to be done? So practically, we are going to send you this info, and if you are going to be interested, you can apply, and then we will volunteer our time to work with you on developing your idea through the structured program, how to go from the stage at which you are, so means problem, to the solution fit, and at the end prepare it as a problem solution fit pitch. This is something what we have come up as one more thing that we would like to offer to this amazing community of people and all those amazing hackers that showed great potential in solving real life problems. Yeah, that's in short. And we will send this info also through Slack. So just get ready.
Well, can I add a little bit?
Yes.
Since the majority of the ideas and probably I'm not 100% sure, but my guessing is that not all of the winning teams have entrepreneurial journeys in the past, meaning that it's probably the first idea or the first activity as an entrepreneur. Since we have quite a lot of experience in supporting entrepreneurs, this is in the early stage, right? This is the early stage, and during the early stage, what Miro mentions is very much needed. What you will need is to build a product market fit. So beyond your idea, beyond your presentation of the hackathon, what is needed is actually develop the prototype, go out of the building and try it. And if you have momentum, if you go beyond the first 2 steps of the entrepreneurial journey, having your idea already even being asked by customers and knocking at your door because they want to pay you for it, then you can open your organization, then you can make it a business, then you can really become an entrepreneur and deliver your solution. Through these different steps in your entrepreneurial journey, you will find different organizations supporting you, and all of the people in the organizing team have one way or another ways of supporting you in these different stages, either inviting you to meet another mentor. Some of them, it's my case. I started working with investors from diaspora, but that's in a different talk. I just don't want to mention more about that. But I'm supporting more and more people with having access to funding, as some of the organizing team members have connections with. So the idea here is you keep yourself around, keep us in the loop, because the community goes in that way, not after the hackathon, but it's if you really want to take your ideas further and if you have some momentum, I think it's just a matter of time that you can connect with us and with more people in the ecosystem. This ecosystem is becoming more supportive, broader one, more robust, and it will be a very good one to support entrepreneurs. So it's just a matter of time. Keep yourself around your teams and ask for questions. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Hermes. Since this is more than a perfect way to have a closing session of our today's meetup, it's 8 p.m. and it's time for crtić spavanje. Now, just to conclude, please do look for updates on versusvirus.hr, as well as do read emails that you will receive from the organizing team. As Hermes announced, probably by the end of this week, you will have all the info how to proceed and all the info how will we proceed with the initiative as well. This was part of the Startups versus COVID-19 meetup organized by Lean Startup Croatia, and we do these meetups every week. So I warmly invite you to join our meetups because the next one is going to happen next Tuesday. We started doing that on Saturday mornings, but since the spring came around and the weather is now nice outside and people would like to join and use nature during Saturday morning, we decided to switch these meetups on Tuesdays. So Tuesday, 6 p.m. If you would like to join the next meetup, please, you can use this Google form and just sign up. It's free and you can participate. I invite you to participate actively, as well as if you would like to share any of the topics or ideas to discuss on any of the future meetups. Thank you very much, everybody, for participating. A big thank you for all the Orga team that was part of the hackathon, and for sharing, being so unselfish and so open to actually share everything that we've done together and everything that you've learned. And you're really honest, almost brutally honest on some of the parts. And I do believe that this is going to help to other people to actually provide a better experience to other people. So thank you once again. Have a good night. Enjoy the rest of the evening, and hope to see you in the next hackathon and next meetup.
Thank you. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.
Ciao, ciao.
Thank you. Bye.
Hvala Bogu.